Autoline Daily is brought to you by Borg Warner, feel good about driving. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion. Dow Automotive Systems, improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com. And by the 2013 Hyundai Sonata. Learn more at HyundaiSonata.com.
Welcome to the Friday edition of Autoline Daily. We're almost through the week, but there's some interesting things going on in the auto industry that we want to get to right now. Nissan just reported its earnings for the first 9 months of its fiscal year, and it's a mixed bag, but generally disappointing. The company sold 3.2 million vehicles, up 4%, and that boosted revenue by a whopping 21% to almost $84 billion. But clearly, costs were skyrocketing because the company's net profit dropped 12% to just under $3 billion. Analysts say this is because of the problems that Nissan ran into in China last year when consumers boycotted Japanese cars. But I say, how odd that Toyota and Honda faced the same problems, but they did not see this kind of drop in profit. In other Nissan news, at the Chicago Auto Show yesterday, the company unveiled a Nismo version of the Juke and officially kicked off its NV200 commercial van. Speaking of Nissan, it is in the UAW's crosshairs. Yesterday, in an op-ed piece in the Detroit News, UAW President Bob King praised former Brazilian President Lula da Silva. Lula, a former auto worker himself, spoke at a labor conference in Washington, D.C., where he promised that Brazilian auto workers would support the UAW's efforts to organize Nissan's assembly plant in Canton, Mississippi. At the end of his editorial, Bob King says, Lula not only promises his support, but will use his leverage in, and I quote, one of the fastest growing markets in the world, close quote. It's unclear if he means Brazil, but last year, Nissan was the fastest growing car brand in Brazil, and the company is investing $1.3 billion there for a new assembly plant in Resende. As a former president of the country, Lula could cause a lot of problems for Nissan in Brazil, and that will definitely provide a lot of leverage to the UAW. Bob King ends his editorial by saying, stay tuned. Toyota unveiled the all-new Tundra at the Chicago Auto Show yesterday, which has been redesigned both inside and out. It's a good, clean, modern-looking update. Mechanically, the truck is pretty much the same as before, but features new things like a blind spot monitor, a standard backup camera, and standard Bluetooth. The Tundra was styled at the company's Kelty Design Center in California, engineered at its tech center in Ann Arbor, and will be built in Texas, and then it goes on sale in September. Looks like Kia wants to step into the full-size crossover segment. Yesterday at the Chicago Auto Show, it pulled the wraps off its Cross GT concept vehicle. This CUV is actually 1.6 inches shorter in overall height than the Kia Sorento, but has a wheelbase that's 15.7 inches longer, and that makes room for the suicide doors. It comes with a 3.8-liter V6 hybrid mated to an 8-speed automatic. Kia says it produces 400 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque, but still can travel 20 miles in full electric mode. Mini just introduced the fastest car it's ever made, a souped-up version of the hardtop called the John Cooper Works GP. It's powered by a specially tuned 1.6-liter four-cylinder that cranks out 211 horses and is mated to a 6-speed manual. The GP is 67 pounds lighter than the hardtop, which helps it reach a top speed of 150 miles an hour and moves from 0 to 60 in only 5.9 seconds. Even so, it averages 29 miles per gallon. It includes several aerodynamic improvements, adjustable suspension, and a special traction control program. The back seats were ripped out, sports seats were added up front, and red trim runs throughout the interior. That rear bar in the back, that's not to increase chassis stiffness, it's to prevent cargo from flying into the front seats if you brake hard or get in an accident. The GP goes on sale in early March with a starting price just under $40,000. But if you want one, you better act quick. Only 2,000 will be built, and only 500 of them will be sold in the U.S. After running our story on the 2014 Kia Forte, a lot of you noticed how it bore a stunning resemblance to the Dodge Dart inside profile. As a matter of fact, some of you thought the picture on our homepage was the Dart. So we here at Autoline just want to do a little side-by-side comparison of the two vehicles to show you how similar they really are, and wow, are they ever. Chevrolet is really bullish on selling diesels in the American market, and we'll have more on that right after this.
You know why I pulled you over, ma'am? I need you to recalibrate the Doppler shift on the return signal. Radar's on the frisk.
Do Sonata drivers know something you don't? The Sonata from Hyundai.
On Autoline After Hours last night, Josh Tavel from Chevrolet filled us in on a lot of the details about the diesel engine they are going to sell in the U.S. market. Here's a clip from the show.
Well, let's go through that. The displacement is...
It's a 2-liter engine, and there was a lot of discussion about what's the right vehicle to put this thing in, because obviously a 2-liter diesel, 258 foot-pounds of torque. We can boost it to 280. I mean, this thing's an animal. You kind of, our seat rides, you need to get to know the back of your seat more than you do the bottom of your seat.
What's the compression ratio that you got to run?
16.5 to 1.
16.5.
Yep. So I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to squeeze these diesel engines. You know, the number of media guys have brought up some ghosts from the past, and you know, that's one of the reasons why we've chosen this engine in particular, because this thing is it's kind of an Iron Duke engine. It is one heck of a solid engine, and we've certainly put it through the ringers, and the rest of the globe has already put it through the ringers for us too.
How long has it been available in the rest of the world?
I'm not sure how many years, but that base architecture engine's been around. I'm not sure. I would probably say it's been out for 5 years or so.
So is that the one that they did with Fiat?
No.
One of your favorite companies?
No, this was a GM design, solely GM design engine. So we
But
did
done in Europe.
add the after treatment system.
And I thought if all the diesel experts I thought have told me that if you kept a diesel to 2 liters or less, you could get by without selective catalyst reduction.
It's really, you know, how much are you squeezing the air and the gas inside the chamber? That's really what it is, because you're making a lot of heat. You're going to make some NOx. And I know Mazda's pumping their upcoming diesel.
With low compression.
And they're a much lower compression engine, and they don't have the after treatment system. With our after treatment system, we can squeeze it hard. It's incredible what we do. We actually have 5 injections per stroke at times. We have our main, we have 2 pre's, and we have 2 posts as well. And we do that for noise, we do that for emissions control, we do that for after treatment temperatures as well. So what we basically do is we have outside of the turbo's right at the exhaust port, so we can spool up almost instantly. After that, we go into the close coupler, the DPF, which is basically a particulate filter that grabs any soot. So you'll never see coming out of a diesel anymore any of these black puffs. That's all way ancient history.
You can watch that entire episode on our website right now because there's a ton of great information about this diesel engine. But that wraps up this week's reports. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back here again on Monday.
Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details, and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.